colder than you thought it would be. Yeah, I can't believe you didn't bring a coat. Well, lucky for you, we have tons of blankets. Yeah, this is the best one. It's the cream of the blanket crop. Feel it. It's unbelievably soft. Yeah, not real fur. I don't know what it is, but it is just pure softness. Isn't that amazing? Oh, I can't believe it. It's like a cloud. Or, well, what as a kid you would imagine a cloud would be like. That was the biggest letdown ever. That was like a bigger letdown than finding out Santa Claus wasn't real. Yeah, finding out that clouds are just like mist and not actually like these big, substantial, fluffy, squishy masses of softness that if you had a tall enough ladder, you could climb up to and roll around and bounce on and curl up and take a nap in. Wouldn't that be amazing? If just for like a weekend, for a day trip, it was a normal thing to you and your friends would get together on your tallest ladder and climb up and just have a picnic on the clouds. If you could, that's what it would feel like. Just like this. Yeah, luckily, the softest blanket is big enough for both of us. Yeah, come here. Just wrap the other end around your shoulders. Yeah, perfect. Just gotta get situated. Yep, that's perfect. So cozy. Yeah, suddenly it's not too cold anymore. It's perfect. It's amazing. I'm so glad we did this. Yeah, so worth the, what was it, 7-hour drive? Totally worth it. Yeah. It's like you can see every single one in the whole universe. Do you think we're looking up at any aliens right now? Probably, right? Yeah, who knows? Well, we are looking into the past. We aren't really looking into the present. So if we were looking at aliens right now, they might not even still be alive. Yeah. Isn't it cool to think that, like, maybe billions of years before we ever even existed, there were alien races that lived and came to the peak of their civilization and then died out long before we ever even began? Probably. Aren't odds kind of in the favor of that? With infinity kind of favors it, everything. Yeah. Looking at the stars is nice, they're so pretty, but it is kind of existential crisis inducing a little bit. We are so small and insignificant. That's not a bad thing, no. Well, I guess for some people it can be kind of stressful, but it's comforting. Yeah, because all the things in your life that seem really, really overwhelming and stressful and like you're just fucking up everything all the time as bad as you possibly could be. Do the stars care? Does the moon care? No. You're nothing. Yeah, I know it sounds bad, but I take it as a comfort. Don't you think it's comforting? Because you can't possibly fuck up anything bad enough to actually make a difference in the grand scheme of the whole entire universe. Yeah. And even in the scheme of your life, you know, things will always get better. It sounds corny, but it always comes back around. You can't completely ever fuck up anything. We're too small to. You can't go wrong. And even when you do go wrong, you can always learn from it and There's no ups without downs. I sound like a really shitty motivational speaker. I'm sorry. You know what I think would be the coolest thing about getting to encounter aliens? We probably won't be lucky enough to in our tiny little lifetime, but if we could, it would be so cool just to see physically what they look like and how they physically would have adapted to whatever insanely different environment than ours they would have had to adapt to. At least I'm assuming it would be insanely different than ours. Who knows? Yeah. Because even on our own planet, those deep sea creatures, those are so cool to look at. Yeah. Do you like that Planet Earth series of documentaries? It's one of my favorites just because, oh, there's so much beauty on our planet. There's so much. Just one of my favorites is the caves episode. Have you seen that one? My favorite part is the are they called glowworms? I think they are. Those worms in the caves that it's their like mucousy saliva. They secrete beads of it, and there's just thousands of these shimmering beads, strands of beads, hanging down from the ceiling of the cave. It sounds disgusting, but you should look it up. It's just beautiful, and they capture prey in these sticky long strings, but they just shimmer the light so beautifully. And just because there's so many of them, it just looks amazing. It looks just absolute magic. There's so much on that in that series of documentaries that's just absolute magic. So yeah, when there's things that are that visually insane and unique and cool, even on our own planet, can you even imagine what kind of adaptations there would be on other planets? That'd be awesome. Yeah, and I wonder, like, what would their, I don't know if it would even be vision, what would their senses be, and what would those senses be like to experience? Because if it's a creature that would have had to adapt to a really extremely different environment than our own, not only would they, obviously adapt to have different physically looking features, they would adapt different senses even, probably. That would be so cool to, like, go into the body of an alien and experience what it would be like to experience the world as a different creature. Not even necessarily an alien, even if it'd be so cool to experience vision through a shrimp or a fish, any animal. Yeah, like, we get so used to seeing and experiencing the world the way that it is through our senses, like through our sight and our hearing and our taste and our touch, and just the way that all those senses have evolved. We kind of take it for granted that we think that what those senses tell us about the world is reality, the world the way that it is, when, like, there is no reality, because if is it shrimp who can see like 8 more colors than we can? I might be thinking of the wrong animal, but if different creatures perceive what we're seeing in different ways, it's not like we're seeing it right and they're seeing it in a skewed way. Every single type of sight is skewed just towards what kind of sight that creature needed in order to help it survive the best. And so it's just kind of interesting to think that, like this t-shirt I'm wearing, I take it for granted that this is what this t-shirt is. It is this color, and it is this shape, and it is this is how it looks, and this is what it is. But something or someone with different senses and different ways of perceiving would see something completely different. And neither one of us are right, and neither one of us are wrong. There is no way it is, because the way that anything is through perception, and if everybody has different perception, there is no one single reality. There's just a billion different perceptions, and there's no single one that's right. That's really cool to think about. And it's not, it's obviously not just true with, like, objective realities, like a t-shirt, but, like, with, just situations in life, too. Everybody has a different perspective, and nobody's really right, nobody's really wrong. It's comforting to us to think that things are black and white, but every single thing is just a massive muddled mess of shades of gray. That's why it's really important to, like, listen to other people and not just think that your one perspective is just the right one, and anybody who thinks or feels differently is mistaken and wrong. Because the only reason that you so happen to be so sure that this way is the right way is because the life experiences you've had up until that point in your life have pointed you in that direction. It's not necessarily the right direction or the wrong direction. It just so happens to be, where you were born, the people you were born around, the time you were born. I don't mean like the time of day, I mean like the age of, like the century you were born in, that kind of thing. So somebody who was born in a different time and place, to different people, to a different type of reality than you, they're going to have a completely different point of view. And it's not skewed. Well, it is skewed, but it's not wrong. It's not that yours is right and theirs is wrong. It's just different. So you really have to listen to other people who have different perspectives than you, because that's the only way you can get a full picture of maybe the closest thing to what's right or what's most right for the most people. I kind of just sometimes think about how the only reason I am who I am and what I am and believe the things that I believe in is just because I just so happen to be born in this body, in this period of time, to this family, in this part of the world, everything. It's just by chance, and that's just the only reason why I am the way I am. And so if I had just so happened to be born in a different body, in a different time and place, to a different family, different everything, I would definitely, obviously be a completely different person and believe different things and do different things. And so that's why I think it's important to take a second before you judge people, even people who have committed horrible crimes or done things that, you feel are horribly wrong. It's just kind of interesting to think, well, if I would have been born in their shoes, who's to say I, wouldn't have done the exact same thing? Even somebody who's, a hardcore criminal, I believe it's a combination of, like, they were born with their brain wired a certain way, and they were born with certain disadvantages that I've never had to deal with, and without many of the advantages that I've, enjoyed in my life. So if I was born, with those, that same kind of mental state to begin with, and then all of their life situation, I probably would have gone down the exact same path. And that doesn't mean that it's, a good path to go down, but it's just important to understand that and, like, be compassionate towards that and not just label them as an evil person to try to support them and help steer them down a better path. And that's kind of a dramatic example. It doesn't necessarily have to mean a criminal. Just somebody who you think is an asshole is probably an asshole for a lot of reasons that you can't see. Unfortunately, a lot of people, no matter how many life experiences they have that should teach them otherwise, just kind of continue to be jerks. But there's a lot of people who have just never been shown enough kindness, and maybe if they can find their way through some life experiences that can show them another way to be, they can kind of recover from being an asshole. Even with a lot more simple things too, like just somebody who has a personality you might not understand. It's always interesting to think about where that comes from and how you might have those exact same traits if you had had similar circumstances in your life. Yeah. It's really interesting how moldable people are. I love that. That's why I really want to study sociology. Yeah, I'm kind of hesitant to have that be my degree because I don't know what career I would want to go and do with it, but I just find sociology and psychology really, really, really interesting. Yeah. Just how, like I said, just how moldable people are. And it's interesting how that, it seems like it never changes throughout your whole life. Like, I know me, I look back on even, like, last week, and I'm embarrassed by, like, oh shit, how immature was that? Let alone years ago. Oh my god. Yeah. But that's a good thing, even though it's kind of cringy to look back on. It's good to cringe when you look back, because that means that you've learned and grown. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's some people who never cringe when they look back, because they never learn and they never grow and never change. They kind of just stay the same their whole life, and that's a sad way to live. Yeah, I guess everybody kind of has different attitudes about what the meaning of life is and what their purpose is and what they want to get out of life. But I think for a lot of people that's a big one, is just to constantly learn and grow and change, develop new skills and new perspectives and learn new things, and always staying open-minded and just expanding. And realizing that, you can never know everything. That, no matter how open-minded you could ever try to be, your window of knowledge is still so small. Yeah, that's kind of a sign of a person, somebody who thinks that they know everything there is to know. Is somebody who probably knows the least. Well, anyways, that's far more than enough of me rambling about nothing, isn't it? How are you doing? Yeah? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you kind of seem like you've been having a hard time lately. You've seemed stressed. Are you okay? Yeah, I know what you mean. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No matter what you're feeling, just feeling like you're alone in it, whatever it is, for some reason just makes it a million times worse. Yeah, and I totally get that inclination to keep it all in and keep it to yourself. Because it is so private and personal, but also because you don't feel like it's your place to burden somebody else with it, I totally get that. I've absolutely felt that way before, but the good thing about having friends is that, you can take turns bearing that burden for each other, and friends are happy to do that for each other. So if you ever do need to talk about anything, I hope you know that I'm always so much more than happy to be a listening ear, and if you need advice, I can give you advice, or if you just need somebody to talk to, I'm always here. Yeah. Because sometimes that can be all you need. You don't need advice, because there's nothing you can do. It's just about how you're feeling, and just sharing that feeling with somebody else and having that solidarity can mean the world and make a world of difference. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so I'm so fucking bad at words. I didn't mean to phrase it like, oh, if you want to burden me with your feelings, that's fine. That's not what I meant. It's not a burden. It's not a burden at all. It's more of a burden for me to see you hurting and know that you feel like you can't come to me with it, and that you can't, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you've definitely, been there for me in the past, so it makes me happy to be able to be there for you when you need it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I hope that whatever it is in your life that's making you feel stressed right now, I really hope that it resolves soon. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I know that when I'm feeling super stressed and anxious and overwhelmed, for some reason it feels like I'm never ever gonna feel good ever again. Do you get that too? It's so weird. Brains are so weird like that. But then it always comes back. It always ebbs and flows, and no low lasts forever. No matter how much it feels while you're in it, like that's your life now and that's how it'll always be. It always comes back around again. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And until it does come back around, I'll be here for you. Yeah. Yeah, we should definitely do this again. This has been amazing. I'm definitely always up for looking at the stars.